Greetings and salutations, my friend. Right now we're in June, which is Men's Mental Health Month. But some people also like to call it Pride Month, Proud Boys' favorite month of the year. And I've been thinking, maybe this is the perfect time to make the gayest video I have ever done on this channel. At first I wanted to wear shorts and a Freddy mustache, but I scratched that idea. I'm really sorry to disappoint you guys, but not this time. I am, however, going to talk about a few things about gay community that I personally dislike, both online and in real life. And you might be thinking, oh my god, how dare he say something negative about gays? Well, I'm an androsexual man, or gay in simple terms if you prefer, and there are few things about gay community that ick me, and I believe that every community, group and ideology should be criticized when it's called for. Even when I myself might belong to such communities or subscribe to such ideologies, I think they still can be deserving of criticism in certain places. Number 1. The binary top and bottom mentality. Now, it's been a while since I've been actively dating or dating at all, but there were many instances in the past where some guy would message me and the very first thing they ask me, are you a top? Are you a bottom? And not only do I think it's very weird to start conversations with asking about personal sexual preferences, it's very weird, but besides that, I just don't really like this binary top and bottom mentality. And I'm not saying this is every gay person ever, but I think it's prevalent enough that it deserves criticism. Why do I have to fit into either box A or box B? Why do you have to be assigned to one particular role in the sexual relationship that you're assigned to and you have to stick with it? I think people are very versatile. And yes, there are a few people who have a specific preference, a specific role that they like to have, so it's understandable that they will search for someone with the opposite role. So if you're a top, you'll search for a bottom. If you're a bottom, you'll search for a top. But in the process, we might ignore the fact that, you know, not everyone is like that. And sides, a lot of the time, get ignored. I have seen a lot of gay queer people who have no idea what it is, right? It's like you're either top or you're a bottom. There's actually quite a lot of us that are not into penetrative sex at all. A lot of the time we associate gay sex with anal sex, even though the vast majority of people who have anal sex are in fact straight. And there are gay people out there who are not into anal sex, right? I'm one of them. I think there are other forms of intimacy that some people prefer, and a lot of the time it gets completely ignored in gay communities, both online and in real life. So I think it's something that definitely deserves criticism. Number 2, inappropriate first messages. Now, I think this is something that applies primarily and maybe only to the online spaces, because I've never actually met anyone in real life who would start a conversation in those ways. But when it comes to the online sphere of gay dating, hookup sites, it's very common to receive a dick pic in your very first message, or someone to ask you to fuck them, or if they want them to fuck you. Hell, I even had someone ask me in the very first message if they can handcuff me, or send some really kinky pictures or pictures of their ass. And I'm thinking, this is really awkward. Now, imagine if real-life interactions looked just like that. Hi, I'm Nathaniel, or whatever name, and the other person takes off the pants, show you the ass, and go, look at that beauty, eh? Now, why exactly does it happen? Because it's not something that's exclusively a gay phenomenon. There's a lot of straight and bisexual women who receive dick pics from men all the time. Something else I think is very inappropriate. However, when a man does that to a woman, I think it's easier for us in a normative society to think of it as harassment of sorts, you know, like there's allegations of sorts exist there. There's a very different dynamic, and I think it's not present in gay communities. We don't have that dynamic, mostly because, well, gay men are sort of more equal. And I think maybe it's easier for gay men to express that. There's more freedom in that. And I think there's a portion of men, both gay, straight, and bisexual, who have no issues with starting a conversation like that and just going right in, being inappropriate like that. I think that's at least how I think of it. I think of it as inappropriate and disrespectful to start any interaction with me in this way. And I think it's just easier to consider it normal in gay community. However, I have other gay friends who also don't like it, who also think it's weird, and yes, we actually talk about it. And when we get together with straight women who have had that same experience, we laugh at these types of men. This is just reality, you know. There's just nothing sexy about it, to be honest, to send someone a dick pic. I don't think it really matters whether you're gay or straight. It's just weird, and I think there are some men who are just really weird. I don't think it's exclusively a gay problem, but it is still a problem in a gay community that I think we should talk about, and we do actually talk about it. Number 3, too much focus on sex. Now this one is very apparent to me as someone who isn't very sexual. I just think there's too much focus on that. I think there's a lot of oversexualization, and I guess I know where it's coming from. Gay men have been oppressed. They have had to suppress their sexuality for a long time, historically speaking. So there have been new generations of gay men who want to feel more free to express it. I get that. I just think that many queer events in general are very sexualized, and if you are not into that, it can make it harder for some people to want to participate or to feel at home. It is part of the reason why I think I don't really belong at Pride, or why I never really cared about Pride Month or Pride parades, Pride events, parties, because there's just too much sex, too much over-sexualization. And since Pride is all about inclusivity, I think it's also strange that we are automatically excluding people like me who are not really into that, because we are less likely to actually attend or participate when it's all about that, right? And let's be honest, there are also parents who attend Pride events with their kids, with minors, who might be exposed to things that I find inappropriate, and I think it is something we should talk openly about, whether this oversexualization should exist in open Pride events, or if it should be excluded to more private spaces, after parties in certain clubs, where I think, yes, I think there are places where there's space for that. Sure, no issues, right? I can choose not to participate, but since Pride events are more public, I don't think it belongs there, to be completely honest. Number 4, discrimination and gatekeeping. And I have been openly androsexual in almost 2 years now, but even long before that I had queer friends, so I used to hang out with gay people, and I'm familiar with the community in general. Approximately a decade ago, I remember there's been a lot of focus on the discrimination of bisexuals in the gay community. There's actually a lot of gay men who want to sleep with bisexuals or date them. There's this stigma there, you know. Some people think that bisexual people are more likely to cheat on you, things like that. And I don't know, maybe something has changed throughout this decade, or maybe there's just been other topics and issues that have gotten more spotlight, more attention, and so it got buried underneath. I'm not 100% sure about that actually, but I still think it is an issue.
I would also say what can be rough being within the queer community, the LGBTQ community, is that if you are partnered to a cis man, then your queer identity is invalidated. And so my partner is a cis man. And I find it to be very interesting that when we can't go to queer spaces together, we would not be accepted in queer spaces together. So although I have queer friends, I'm accepted in my friend spaces. But if we were to go to a queer bar or even Pride, couldn't happen. And my identity as a queer person is erased from both people within my own community and people who are outside of that community.
And another group that I think can be discriminated against in gay community is gay men or women who happen to be more asexual. I think it also connects with the previous point of gay community being too oversexualized, and why people who are not that sexual may feel like they don't really fit in. I hear people even saying things like, well, you're not actually gay if you're not into gay sex or stuff like that. And I'm thinking, that's just crazy, you know, because at the same time we also like to say it's not all about sex, but at the same time you also exclude people from the community. You'll tell them not to call themselves gay because they don't want to have sex, right? That's crazy. I don't really get along with individuals like that at all, to be completely honest. And as far as this type of gatekeeping is concerned, I have also seen some gay people who were against gay men who are in relationship with trans men, or lesbians who are in relationship with trans women, to call themselves gay. I have no issue with that personally. I know gay men who are in relationship with trans men. They are not any less gay in my opinion. However, some people can be like very strict about that, and I just think you have really no right to tell someone how they define their sexuality. I don't think anyone has a monopoly on that, really. Number 6, categorizing people. Now this one is very similar to the first point, which is about the top and bottom. I could have kind of squeezed this into number 1, but I think of it as something kind of separate. I've noticed gay people love to put other gay people into certain categories. You're either a bear, you're a twink, you're a hunk, and I guess there'll be some people here who have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm using this term. So twink is basically someone young, cute looking. This here is an example of a bear. This here is an example of a hunk. And yeah, I guess there will be people who will disagree with me. There will be people who absolutely love using those categories. But I just think it's stupid. Completely honest. I think it's stupid. I think it's absolute nonsense. Why not just say people, you know? They're just people, that's what I'm saying here. A lot of the time, you know, when you're called a twink, people also like to assume you're sort of stupid and inexperienced and naive, innocent. I'm thinking, you know, that doesn't always apply. There's a lot of stereotypes associated with those things. Or if you're a bear, you're supposed to be the experienced one, you're supposed to be dominant, you're supposed to be a top. And hell, I love people who break with stereotypes, who say, fuck all that shit, throw it out the window and are doing their own thing. A few years back, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, who's, I'm not going to put in a specific category, but let's just say he wouldn't qualify for a twink. And he was into twinks around the time. His tastes have changed over the years. So I asked him at the time, okay, if you yourself were a twink, let's say, would you still be into twinks? And he said something that I found very interesting. He said, no, I couldn't be, because then I would be into bears, you know, I'll be into those big, hairy, masculine men. He was young and cute himself. I was thinking, why? Why should his own appearance dictate what he's attracted to? Alright, that's about it. Let me know if you agree Let me know if you disagree, and if you enjoyed this video, consider liking this video and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Ciao.